My manager reviewed my report and said, "That's not bad." I assumed not bad meant mediocre, disappointing. Turns out she meant it was really good. I was upset over nothing.
Not bad. In English, very often means genuinely
Sometimes
good. Even impressive, depending on tone.
Exactly. And today we're covering English phrases that mean the complete opposite of what they literally say.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Emma.
And I'm Daniel. Let's get straight into it.
Today's topic could genuinely change how you understand entire conversations. Phrases that flip meaning depending on tone and context.
Exactly. Let's fix that not bad confusion immediately and cover several more just like it. Not bad, exactly from our story, often means genuinely good, sometimes even great, depending entirely on tone.
I couldn't care less means you truly don't care at all. Confusingly, some people incorrectly say I could care less, meaning the exact opposite of what they intend.
Yeah, right. Said sarcastically means I don't believe that at all, despite the words literally agreeing.
Whatever you say can mean genuine agreement or sarcastic disagreement, entirely dependent on tone.
I'm dying almost always means extremely amused or extremely tired, never literally close to death.
5 essential examples already. Not bad, couldn't care less, yeah right, whatever you say, and I'm dying.
Already enough to recognize this pattern happening constantly throughout real English conversation.
Emma, do you think sarcasm specifically is the biggest source of these opposite meaning phrases?
Genuinely, yes, a huge portion of them. Sarcasm relies entirely on saying one thing while meaning something completely different.
Let's cover a few more sarcasm-based examples. "Oh, great," said flatly, without enthusiasm, usually means the opposite, genuine disappointment or frustration.
For example, someone says the meeting got extended 2 hours and you respond, "Oh, great," meaning definitely not great.
Nice job can be genuine praise or sarcastic criticism, entirely dependent on tone in the specific situation.
For example, if someone spills coffee everywhere and someone says, "Nice job," it's clearly sarcastic, not genuine praise.
"I can't wait" usually means genuine excitement, but said flatly, it often means dreading something instead.
For example, "I can't wait for Monday," said with genuine excitement means looking forward to it, but said flatly, sarcastically, means dreading it.
Sure, that sounds fun. Can be genuine enthusiasm or reluctant sarcastic agreement, depending entirely on tone. What role does facial expression play alongside tone in recognizing these flipped meanings? Genuinely enormous. A slight eye roll, a flat expression, or an exaggerated smile all signal sarcasm even before any words are analyzed.
So for learners specifically, watching for these visual cues genuinely helps as much as listening to tone itself.
Completely essential, especially since sarcasm often relies more heavily on delivery than the actual words chosen.
What about as if, a genuinely confusing phrase for learners specifically?
As if expresses strong disbelief or rejection of an idea. As if I would ever do that, meaning absolutely not.
What about, "Yeah, no problem," said with hesitation rather than immediately?
This can genuinely signal reluctant agreement, meaning there actually is some hesitation or discomfort despite the words themselves.
Let's shift specifically toward British English understatement now, since this pattern appears constantly there.
Quite good in British English often means genuinely excellent, understated significantly compared to how it initially sounds.
"I'm a bit disappointed" can actually express genuine, significant frustration, despite sounding relatively mild on the surface.
That's a bit of a problem. Can describe something genuinely serious, understated deliberately to sound calmer than the actual situation.
Why does this understatement pattern exist so strongly, specifically in British English? It's often connected to cultural politeness norms, avoiding appearing overly dramatic or emotional, even during genuinely significant situations.
What about, with all due respect, a phrase that sounds respectful but often precedes genuine disagreement.
Exactly. With all due respect, I think you're wrong uses polite framing before delivering direct disagreement.
What about, I hear what you're saying? Another deceptively polite sounding phrase.
This very often signals that disagreement is coming next, despite sounding like genuine agreement or understanding on the surface.
What about, that's one way to look at it?
This frequently means genuine, if polite, disagreement with someone's perspective, despite sounding neutral or accepting.
What about interesting, used alone as a complete response?
Interesting, said with a flat or hesitant tone, very often means confusion, doubt, or even mild disapproval, rather than genuine fascination.
These polite, softened phrases genuinely require careful attention to tone, since the words alone can be genuinely misleading.
Absolutely essential skill, especially in professional or formal British English contexts specifically.
What about we'll see? A phrase that sounds neutral but often means something more specific.
We'll see very frequently means a soft, polite, probably not, rather than genuine, open uncertainty.
What about I'll think about it, used similarly?
Also very commonly means a polite decline rather than genuine consideration, depending heavily on tone and context.
Let's cover a few more everyday examples that appear constantly, beyond sarcasm and British understatement specifically.
I'm fine, said with a certain tone, very often means the complete opposite, genuinely not fine at all.
This one genuinely trips up so many people, especially in personal relationships specifically.
It's whatever can mean genuine indifference or suppressed frustration, again, entirely dependent on tone and context.
What about no offense, but almost always precedes something genuinely somewhat offensive?
Exactly that pattern. The phrase itself doesn't prevent offense, it simply signals awareness that offense might follow.
What about not to be rude but? A very similar pattern to no offense.
Almost identically signals that something potentially rude is about to follow directly afterward.
What about I'm just saying? Often used to soften a critical or blunt statement just made.
For example, you could have called first, I'm just saying, softening criticism slightly after already delivering it directly.
What about bless your heart, specifically in American Southern English?
This can be genuinely sweet or subtly, politely condescending, depending entirely on tone and specific context.
What about if you say so?
Very frequently signals polite disagreement or skepticism, despite technically sounding like agreement on the surface.
Let's cover a useful grammar and pragmatics point here. Context and relationship history genuinely matter as much as tone itself.
The same exact phrase can mean completely different things between close friends versus between strangers or colleagues.
Absolutely essential to remember. These patterns aren't fixed rules, but genuine tendencies requiring context awareness.
Let's review the essential opposite meaning phrases from today, all together, starting with the sarcasm-based ones.
Not bad, often genuinely good. Couldn't care less, truly indifferent. Yeah, right. Sarcastic disbelief.
Oh, great. Often sarcastic disappointment. Nice job. Genuine or sarcastic, tone dependent. I'm dying. Extremely amused or tired.
Now the British understatement examples. Quite good. A bit disappointed. A bit of a problem.
With all due respect, polite framing before disagreement. I hear what you're saying. Often precedes disagreement.
That's one way to look at it. Polite disagreement. We'll see. Often a soft, probably not.
And the everyday double meanings. I'm fine, it's whatever, no offense, but I'm just saying, if you say so.
18 essential phrases now, all requiring tone and context to understand their true intended meaning. Practice noticing tone specifically today, whenever you hear any of these exact phrases used around you. Daniel, tell us the full story about not bad and your crushed reaction.
So this happened during my first major written report at a new job. Genuinely nervous about how it would be received.
Already emotionally invested before any feedback arrived at all.
Extremely invested. My manager read through it, looked up, and said simply, "That's not bad."
A phrase that, on the surface, sounds only mildly acceptable, nothing more.
Exactly how I interpreted it initially. I felt genuinely deflated, assuming she meant it was mediocre, barely acceptable work.
Did she say anything else immediately afterward, or did the conversation simply end there?
She actually moved on quickly to other topics, seemingly satisfied, which only confused me further at the time.
So you spent the rest of that day genuinely believing your work had disappointed her?
Completely believing that, for the entire remainder of the day, quietly replaying the moment, wondering what I could improve.
When did you finally realize the actual meaning?
The next day, a colleague mentioned casually that our manager had told someone else my report was genuinely one of the best she'd seen from a new hire.
A completely different message than what you had assumed.
Entirely different. I was genuinely shocked and immediately asked my colleague to clarify what "not bad" actually meant from our manager specifically.
What did your colleague explain?
She laughed and said our manager was famous for understatement, and "not bad" from her was actually one of her highest possible compliments.
So, an entire day of quiet disappointment based purely on a tone and phrasing misunderstanding?
An entire, genuinely unnecessary day of disappointment. Since then, I've paid much closer attention to specific people's individual speaking patterns, not just general rules.
What's the lesson for our listeners here?
Understanding tone and individual speaking styles genuinely matters as much as understanding vocabulary and grammar themselves.
And if you're ever unsure, it's always worth asking directly rather than quietly assuming the worst possible interpretation.
Everyone, has a phrase like this ever confused you, meaning the opposite of what you initially assumed? Tell us in the comments.
And which example from today surprised you the most? Not bad, we'll see, I hear what you're saying?
We read every single comment, and honestly, this topic genuinely resonates with learners at every single level.
If this episode helped you, please like it and subscribe for a new episode every week.
Take care, everyone, and remember, always pay attention to tone, not just words.
Bye, everyone.